Okay.
Cool. So we're ready for today's Ask Karen. This is where some of our members of our groups or members of the academy or hosts of our shows get an opportunity to share exactly what they do. Because as I say every time, a coach just doesn't really explain what it is they actually do, who they help. So today's guest, Keana, if you'd like to share with the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do, first of all.
Yes. Okay. So explaining who I am is kind of complicated because I do tons of stuff. But let me just start off by saying I'm a wife, mom, sister, daughter, a relationship coach, mental health counselor, singer, songwriter, podcaster, like all of the above. That is me. And so if you wanted to break down what I do in a nutshell, it's funny because all of these things somehow always come around to dealing with relationships, whether it's my kids, my husband, the people I counsel, the couples I talk to, it all deals with relationships. So I am a relationship coach. And what I do is I help women. I can help married couples, but I prefer to stick with just helping women to figure out how to boost their self-esteem, work on themselves, and while they're working on themselves, improve their marriage all at the same time.
Wow, because that's it. There you go. You've just said it in a nutshell there. It starts from you.
Yes.
Right? We've got to have this relationship with ourselves before we can have a relationship with anybody else, right?
That is true. Because think about it. It's like when you're feeling at your worst and things aren't good, your whole body language is just like, oh, it can tell, and it comes across in who you talk to, who you deal with, and it even affects your marriage. So think about it like this. If you are struggling in your marriage, of course it's going to affect you because we're people, we have emotions, so we're going to be affected. But while it's affecting us, it affects how we interact. So it's a double-edged sword. There's already a problem. We're being affected by it. We can't cope with the problem, so it's still affecting our marriage even worse. So my whole philosophy is this. Okay, there's a problem. We acknowledged it. We know it's a problem. However, if you want to fix the problem and work on the problem, you have to work on you because you cannot save your marriage if you are drowning. So my whole philosophy is work on yourself, get your self-esteem back up, make yourself look as pretty as you want to look because it builds confidence. And when you have confidence and you're sure of yourself and you start to build up your self-esteem, then when it comes to your marriage, you are able to look at things objectively, make better decisions, and think in a more rational way. And you have the confidence to back it all up.
Right. So for those out there who may be struggling within their whatever relationship, what would be your top tips? What would be your best advice if they're going through some struggles right now?
Okay, here's my best advice. It is kind of funny because it has nothing to do with the relationship. I would say first, stop focusing on the problems because when you continue to focus on the problems, they get worse, they get magnified, and sometimes it may not be as bad as you think it is, but our minds and our perception make it out to be that way. Or it might be as bad as you think it is, but it's not helping you and it's not getting any better. So stop focusing on the problem. That's the first thing. Acknowledge it's there. Stop focusing on it. The second thing I would tell you to do, if you have signed up for a gym or you exercise, I would say exercise, go to the gym, give yourself a health goal. And I'm not talking about lose a whole bunch of weight or anything. No, I just said give yourself a health goal. So if you want to walk more or you want to be healthier and you want to do certain things, work on that. So come up with a health goal, work on that. The next thing I would say is get a hobby, do something else besides focus on the problem. So if you always wanted to sing, go practice singing. Or if you ever wanted to have a career or do something different, work on that. Then I would say read some books, get yourself intellectually healthy and well, find things to talk about, interesting things to do, hang out with some friends, like really do things to make yourself happy. And I know it seems like it's counterproductive, but believe me, it's not. Because if you make yourself happy, and you are exercising and you're eating right and you're working on your health and yourself, your spouse is going to notice that. They're going to be like, wait, what is going on? Because you're no longer focusing on them. You're no longer picking at them. And when I say picking at them, let me explain. Sometimes when we are in relationships or marriages and things aren't going right and we feel like we're not getting what we need from our spouse, we have to all be honest and kind of say, you might start an argument just for attention. It's almost like that kid who's not getting attention. So they'll throw a tantrum, they'll do something. and you think it's just kids. But no, we do that as grown-ups, only it might come with arguments, stalking, kind of texting like, hey, where are you? What are you doing? How come you won't talk to me? That kind of thing. So stop that. Don't do that. Work on yourself, because then your spouse will be like, wait, something's different. She hasn't talked to me. I say talk to me. She hasn't nagged me. She's talking to me, but she's not nagging me. She's not following up with me. She's not stalking me. Things are different. They will notice. And then once they notice things are different and you are changing, then they will start to change how they treat you, how they talk to you, how they interact with you, because you are changing yourself.
Oh, love that advice. I mean, it really is. What I've just heard from what you've just said there is, it's got to start with you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to take time out for some self-care. And I love that. I don't know what it is, and I don't know why it is. We've been conditioned to, it's always focusing on the problem. But if the problem's down here, you're not going to see the answers that are up here, right? So
that's correct.
Change your perception, change your viewpoint, so that you can actually see the solutions as they come up. So fantastic advice, because it's got to be about how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, it's very, very easy to get caught up in a problem, and then that is where the focus goes. And what's the saying? Where attention flows, or attention goes where I can't remember which way around it is. It flows or attention goes, right? So if
yes,
you focus on the problem, no solution can come from that, because you've got to see it from a different viewpoint, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Self-care. Get yourself in the right way, because it's not about them, it's about you, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's my whole philosophy, because it's not about them, it's about you. People think that, I have to change, it's not fair, I'm not the one who did this, I'm not the one who's doing whatever. But that's not the point. Like, you can sit here together and both of you cannot accept your part of what's going on. You can put blame on each other, nothing's going to change. So if you don't want things to change, then keep doing what you're doing, keep blaming your spouse, wait for them to change. Maybe one day that'll happen, and you can.
That ain't happening, is it?
No. It's like, I don't want to discourage anyone. It might happen, but here's the thing. Like, I like to be in charge of what's happening in my life. And so in order to do that, somebody's going to have to change, whether it's him, whether it's you. Someone is going to have to change. And so why not let it be you? You're the one who's unhappy. Who wants to spend years in an unhappy marriage or relationship? So if you want things to get better sooner rather than later, I would say you need to change. You need to just be like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I need to work on me. And the change I'm talking about is not putting up with crap. It's not letting people walk all over you. It's just about making yourself happy and doing things that you enjoy. Because sometimes in marriages, I hate to say this, when people come together, especially women, it's like we get so caught up in being a perfect wife and being a perfect mom, we lose ourselves. And that also has a lot to do with how we respond to problems, because when we lose ourselves, we lose our confidence. We lose our self-esteem. And I know people don't like to say that they may have a low self-esteem, but I don't think having a low self-esteem is always a permanent issue, because it's not. It could be a situation that has happened to make you lose confidence, and your self-esteem has gotten a little lower, but it's temporary. So you need to build yourself up. Like, keep building into yourself, giving into yourself, so that you can be where you need to be to deal with these problems, instead of having a low self-esteem, like falling away, not doing what you need to do. Work on you. And that's the change that I'm talking about. Making yourself happy.
And see, this is the thing. You said a couple of things there. Number one is, you can't change somebody else. You only have the power to change yourself anyway. That's a fact. So by constantly nagging, they ain't changing.
Doesn't work. I tried it.
Change themselves if they want to change. You only have the power to change yourself. So give up. Right? Give up on that whole idea. Focus on yourself. And another thing you said there, which I think is incredibly important, is the fact that even if you have felt that you've lost your confidence, even if you felt that your esteem has been drained, and we've all been there, right? Well, okay, maybe not everybody. I know I've been there, but it's like you said, it's transitional. It's not permanent. And this is what I think so many people can get caught up, because it can feel like it's so permanent in the moment. But the fact is, that this is life, right? Do you know anybody that has had their life go whoop in one straight line all the way up? It's peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs. So, you know, as all the sort of common sayings like, you know, this too shall pass. Yeah, whether some, you know, when things are going good, trust me, things are going to change. Right? It's never going to stay that amazing forever. We're in a constant state of change. So, and the same goes for anybody that is feeling low and that is feeling like they've lost. Don't worry. You don't have to stay there.
Right.
So yeah, the only way to do that is a little bit of self-care. But do you find that, you know, and we're not just talking about women here, it's just that, you know, we're having this conversation right now. The same goes for men.
Absolutely.
But for a lot of women, there's almost like, I don't know whether it's through conditioning, that we have been conditioned to almost feel guilty if we spend time on self-care, which is completely flipped, right? Do you see that same thing?
I do, absolutely. Like, I've had women tell me things like, I feel guilty if I'm buying myself something. And it's not even a big purchase. It's like something small, like perfume or body wash or something. They're like, my kids could use this. And what kind of mom am I being? Or how my husband see this? And I'm just like, wait. Like, you have to take care of yourself. And it's important for us as women to remember who we were before we got married. Like, the person who attracted your spouse to you, the person who's fun and all kind of stuff, you got to get back to that person, because that's where I think we were at our best for the most part, you know. And once you get married, sometimes, like, I remember after I got married and had kids, I didn't wear heels for like 3 or 4 years because I was thinking, you know, I don't want to drop my kids and I don't want to do this. And then one day I was like, I was like, Keana, stop. Like, you have worn heels since you were 13. Like, what is going on now? I don't think you're like, you can carry the baby. You can hold her. She's not going to fall, you know? But it's one of those things, like, we put everybody before ourselves. We think about everybody else's need, even when it comes to our husbands sometimes. It's like their need is first and foremost. And I'm not saying we should ignore their needs, because I think it should be equal. We should give to each other. But it shouldn't be at the point where we are dying and we're losing ourselves and we're struggling and we're putting ourselves last still. It's important to put yourself first, because it's almost like if you are what do you call it, a guard or a life, well, I forgot what they call it. Anyway, let's say you're at the pool, okay? And
are you talking about like on an aeroplane, for instance? You can't, you know, you've got to put your mask on first before you can anybody else. Right?
Exactly. And then I was going to give my example of, if you're in a pool and you're a lifeguard, it's like, if you see somebody drowning, you can't save them if you're drowning too. So the whole thing is like, we have to take care of ourselves by either putting on our oxygen mask if we're, you know, or saving ourselves from drowning, because then you can help to save other people and you can be there for other people. People and women who are the happiest have the best marriages, because they can be there for their spouse and for their kids. They can give them what they need. It's hard to do that if you are struggling. So
absolutely, you can't give from an empty cup. Yeah.
Cannot.
See, all these things, all these little quotes that come up, they're there for a reason, right? They are truth, you know. So listen. So do not feel guilty about taking time out for yourself. And it doesn't have to be spending money. It could be just 10 minutes. Having a nice bubble bath with some aromatherapy. It could be something really, really simple that doesn't necessarily cost. You don't have to spend hours on it, but take time out for yourself. It is essential, right?
It is. And like you said, it doesn't have to even be a long time. Like, I know sometimes I will spend some time in the car just listening to a book or doing something, but I like it because it's me time. It's quiet time. Like you said, a nice bubble bath bombs, you know, just something easy. Even if it's just like a cup of tea for 15 minutes where nobody is bothering you. Even if you have one spot in the house where you sit by yourself to think, just make sure you take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Like, you have to do all of these things to be the best that you can be.
Absolutely. So for you, this your website, keanamitchell.club, what is it that you offer people, and who you said that you mainly help women in general, not dismissing the guys too, but what is it that you have on offer?
Okay, well, I have a couple of things to offer. When you go to my website, you're going to see a lot of things, because I do a lot of things. So you're going to see my podcast. I have 2 of them. You're going to see some of my music because, like I said, I like to sing and write songs. But you're also going to see where I am a relationship coach and how I can help people. Now, I do have a boot camp that's going on. It will start October 28th, 29th, and 30th. So that is Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, US time. And it's virtual, so anyone can come. You don't have to worry about how am I going to get there? It's virtual. So you would definitely be able to get there. And pretty much what we're going to do is over this weekend, it is about you. We're going to look at 3 topics that women, I feel that we need to work on if we want to improve our marriages. Now, of course, I do have some rules of engagement, but you would have to, ways you have to interact with your spouse during this time. We talk about the 3 things that can help you, such as identifying your triggers, communication skills, feeling good about ourselves, finding out who we are, and how to talk about our needs and wants. So we talk about all of these things in these 3 days. And the price of the boot camp is $97. However, if you enter and if you sign up and register before October 14th, then it's only $47. So you save 50 whole bucks. So I think that is awesome. But after that, it's still open. You can still sign up, but it does go up to $97. So that's what we do in that boot camp.
Awesome. So anybody struggling out there, come and get in touch. So finally, the Ask Karen bit. Is there any particular question that maybe you have now or you had in the beginning with regards to, I suppose, getting more people on your boot camp or getting more clients?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that question. So I recently have started to post things online about what I'm doing, and I have started to get likes. But none of those likes have translated into a sale or contacted me or anything. So my question is, how do I turn my likes into sales?
The ultimate question. And I hear this so much because so many people feel it's they're not posting consistently, or it's what they're posting. Truly, that is only a small fraction of the process that is needed to actually get sales. They'll come eventually. If you're going to sit around waiting for somebody that's seen a post that you've written or seen a video that you've done, has liked it, and then actually got into your DMs and said, "Hey, Keana, can I buy? Where can I buy?" Right? It just doesn't happen. Right?
That's
we
true.
are distracted. You could see one post and think, "Oh yeah, I like that," and get distracted by the next post and the next post and the next post. So there's got to be that missing link. And I hear this so often. And I get it because I was exactly the same in the beginning. It's almost like we're really good at what we do once people come to us, but it's how do you close that gap?
Yeah.
And it really is. Although some things you can automate, I truly believe unless you have paid a really skillful copywriter to write you this amazing offer that people are just going to buy, other than that, you have got to do some work in between. Okay. And that means actually going to them and asking a question. So what I suggest is people actually monitor their posts, monitor their stories. And if you see a pattern, the same people are liking, the same people are communicating or commenting, reach out to them in a private DM. Ask them a simple question. Thank them for supporting your post. And I see you like that. What part of it, what was it that intrigued you or what interested you about that particular post? Ask a question. Stop trying to sell.
That makes sense.
That sounds counterproductive, right? But if you imagine it as people are almost expecting people to drop in their DMs and try and sell them something, and they're instantly there's resistance, right? They're instantly feeling being pushed. It's like if you were sat at the traffic lights and the lights are red, you sat at the traffic lights and they go green, excuse me, and you pause for a second, you haven't pulled away straight away. If somebody hooted you, how would that make you feel? You'd be a bit like, oh, okay, give me a chance. Whereas if you sat there for a few seconds and then someone gently sort of quick hoot to remind you, you wouldn't have the same pressure, because people don't want that high pressure. So when I say reach out to them, you're not asking for a sale. You're trying to find out if they are interested. Are they just purely supporting you? Because some of our friends and family will just add a like because they want to support us, which is wonderful, and thank you. However, somebody might actually have interest in what you're selling, but you've got to start with a question, an open-ended question, to start a conversation. And then if it looks like, if there's a backwards and forwards bit of communication, then it can be time to actually invite them on what I call a discovery call. And not just me, they tend to be called discovery calls. Again, these aren't sales calls, because at this moment, you don't know if that person is the right fit for your program. So on the discovery call, it's exactly that. You've got to find out. And the only way you can do that is by asking more questions. Questions about them, where they're at, what problem they have, how long have they had that problem. They might not be ready for you. But then if you don't get them on that call and ask specific questions on that call, you're never going to know. Then again, because you're not trying to sell, you're just trying to get some information, then you can get them booked on a second call and send some information. Maybe they need a little bit more of a background about you. Maybe you send them a video that you did, or a training that you did previously that might help a particular question that you asked, right? And then when you get them on the second call, again, more questions, but in a way that you can present what you have to offer if it looks like a good fit, and then ask for the sale. So there is a process. But it starts with, guess what? Communication. Unfortunately, you cannot magically turn likes and comments into sales without moving them along the process. And if you ask too soon, it's like that person sat behind you impatiently, pushing the hooter, right?
That's
You just,
true, yeah.
they're going to be on the defense, right? You're not going to sell to me. So do it slowly. So by following the process, and then when the time is right to present your offer in such a way, and then, if it's the right thing for them at that time, if not, you've got to follow up. But you need to have some kind of process to follow to remember who to follow up on. So it sounds like there's a lot to it. And I think this is why people think it's just so easy. I'm just going to post my offer, tell people what I do, and they're going to come running. It ain't necessarily so. Otherwise, if it were that easy, everybody would be doing it. But don't be afraid to reach out. If it's not for them, it's not for them. Move on. Does that help?
Yeah, no, I'm sitting here like, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense, because it's funny, because I am working with a business coach, but it's one of those things where we talked about how to get everything started, how to get everything together. But this part was kind of missing, the part that I really need at this point was not so we've been discussing.
How do you get a sale?
Yeah, it's been more like, well, even though, now let me just get this straight. I love my business coach. I think she's awesome. Not putting anybody down or anything like that. But this is not something we talked about in such detail, because it's more like, we'll try to get more things on TikTok and try to be on all these different social media sites or whatever. I'm like, okay, I don't have time for that. And I don't like TikTok as much. So it's like, what do I do?
You could spend your whole day posting on social media. Again, that is only a small part of the process. That is to get yourself heard, to attract attention, right? Which is great. I'm not saying don't do that. You need that. It's an important part of the process. Plus, the more you are posting, when people come and check you out, because they will, right? They can say, well, who is this person? They can see that you're a real person and you're really in business and you're consistently showing up. Yes, massively important. But how do you move them to the next step. And it seems like a lot of people they're waiting for everything to be done for them. And unfortunately, it maybe it happens to some people. It doesn't happen to me, right? I have to be the one to step out and ask the question, are they interested in this? Are they interested in this? It might be a few things, but you don't know until you ask them.
That is so true. And I'm glad you said that, because it's like now I have a process. Like, oh, okay, so this is kind of where I need to do. This is what I need to do. This is kind of where I need to go. Because I heard about discovery calls, but I didn't really know how to put it in my little flow of things. I didn't know how to put it into my funnel.
Script. It's not any real script. It's, at the end of the day, the number one rule in sales is rapport. You've got to build rapport, but you can't build rapport if you haven't had a conversation. I mean, you can do the same thing in a DM. It is better to get face to face to a person, because people are either going to resonate with you or not.
That is true.
And it doesn't have to be long. 15 minutes, 15-minute discovery call. Tell them from the start, if this is not a sales call, this is, just to find out a little bit about you, more about you, see if you're a good fit. If it looks like you're a good fit, I can send you some information. We can book a second, more in-depth call. That's it. Be open and honest, and you'll smash it, girl.
It's funny because this is kind of what I have to do when I meet new clients and I'm doing my counseling sessions and stuff. It's pretty much the same thing. So I guess some things just never change. You just like, you can use the same skills in a different environment.
Absolutely. Well, there is nothing new. I think everybody is looking for this golden nugget. There's this golden piece of information that is out there that nobody else has, and everybody's looking for this. It doesn't exist, people. It doesn't exist, people. It all comes, like you said, your whole business is about relationships. You're not going to get a sale until you've started to build a relationship. Just like with you. I mean, actually, you're a perfect example. You're not going to ask somebody to marry them on the first date. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that do, but I bet the statistics aren't particularly high, right? You need to build on the know, like, and trust. We hear that so often, but people don't understand it with business, and especially if these people that you're reaching out to haven't known you forever. They are new people. You've got to warm them up, right? You've got to build on that trust, and people are expecting somebody to come into their DMs with a link to buy. Please don't. No links. No links. No links. Hi.
That is so true.
Thanks for support. Thanks for liking my post. Just wondering what part of that did you like? Just ask honest questions.
I love that, because it's so true. Because I know how I am when people just send me things in my DM. I'm just like, probably not gonna get this. So I get it.
So awesome. Well, I wish you all the best with everything. You're gonna smash it. It's always just one little piece of the puzzle that just might not be working. A lot of people have everything planned out. They've got an amazing offer, an amazing program. They're doing the posts, and they're still not. It's not that that's wrong. Everything you're doing is perfect. It's just adding this final piece of the puzzle to get them on. So actually, if you're not going to ask for the sale, trust me, you're never going to get any, are you?
No.
That's a fact. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. So the 28th, 29th, 30th, did you say? Have I got that wrong?
Yes, you said that correctly. Yes, okay. 28th, 29th, 30th.
Awesome. So get in touch. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.